short little book. I was like, perfect. I gave it 2 stars. Hello besties, it's Keira. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video we are going to be doing my monthly wrap up. This is my July wrap up, and guys, to be honest, most if not all of these are actually in the 2 videos that I did film in the month of July. July was it was a month. I don't know if I'm in like a little bit of a slump. It's kind of feeling like that. I also just like was busy, but I did end up reading 7 books, and I did DNF book. Be sure to follow all my socials down below. Love all your reads, my abs, and wishes, stuff like that is in down there if you want to check it out. Like, comment, subscribe, read with me. I'll just get right into it. Okay, so these first 3 books were in my reading like summary books for the week. So the first one I do not have the physical copy for it, but it is The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. This is like my first Christina Lauren book in, gosh, like a very long time. This is like a summer romance, and basically it's about these 2 people who in college, they got married so that they could live in this like sort of housing. They end up getting supposedly divorced, but now it is like, I don't know, a couple years later. The main character, I don't remember their names. The main character, his family is like very rich. They own this like grocery store chain that's kind of like Whole Foods and all that. His sister is getting married, and it's on this like very private like island. So like all of his family's gonna be there, and they basically want him to like bring his wife. In order to get his grandfather's inheritance, he needs to be like married, I think a minimum of like 5 years, so it makes it look like it's like real. So they're basically faking being married. I give it a 3.75 out of 5 stars. I thought it was fun. I just like haven't read like a rom-com in so long that it kind of like caught me off guard with like the humor and all of those kind of aspects. I think it's a really good palate cleanser. I'm not into like the billionaire like kind of trope anymore, so I wasn't really like connecting with like the characters. Like I feel like I didn't personally connect to the story, but I did think it was really fun. I felt like it was a really good summary, fun read, definitely a good palate cleanser. If you're looking for just a fun rom-com, I definitely would recommend it. 3.75 out of 5 stars. And then the second one that I read for that video, One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I keep pronouncing her name wrong. Carly Fortune. This is, I think it's technically a standalone, but it also might be like a companion novel to Every Summer After. Did not love the trope in that one. It actually made me really not like the book, but I've heard so many good things about this one, and again, I was just looking for summary reads. I gave it 4 stars. This book was so good on like the atmospheric vibes. Oh my god, I felt like I was at this lake with these characters. Like I feel like I could just like feel myself there, and I feel like Carly Fortune does a very good job of like setting the scene. Yeah, basically this is about Alice, and basically her grandmother gets like injured, and to like kind of like keep her spirits up after like having surgery and everything, they decide to go to this cottage that they used to go to growing up, and they're just gonna spend like one more summer there, and that's where she sees this yellow boat that she picture of when she was 17. Sorry if you can hear my turtle. This is the only time he decides to swim around. She sees the guy who was driving it, and basically when she was 17 she took this like very like famous picture of these 3 teenagers on this yellow boat, and it kind of sparked her photography career. It's kind of like their romance. Yeah, again, this is one I didn't really connect with the characters like necessarily like their romance. It was like a friends with benefits situation, and she kind of made this like bucket list thing, you know, those kind of romance books. But I really liked Charlie's character. I feel like his like flirtiness was like really needed for Nan, but he also just made the book like really fun. Like I liked his personality and all of that. I didn't connect with the whole friends with benefits situation. It's just not something I like. But it also was weird because they had the friends with benefits, but you slowly did see them like start to care for each other. I just really wish we got Charlie's point of view, because there was just a lot of mystery going on with him, and I feel like I was more focused on wanting to figure that out than like their romance. I think that's why I get 4 stars, because the vibes were just so good. And then lastly, for that reading summary books for a week video, I picked up a book that she's been sitting waiting for me to read her, and it's kind of like offensive at this point that I didn't read this yet. But when I thought of that video concept, I was like, okay, I have to read this book in that video or I just will not read it. Happy Place by Emily Henry. Finally, I know. Basically it's about Win and Harriet, and they were like college, I guess, sweethearts starts, they met in college and they fell in love. They end up getting like engaged, but some things happened and they broke off their engagement, but they ended up not telling their friends. One of the friends, like dad owns this like nice little cottage in Maine that they would take one last trip up to this cottage in Maine all together as a friend group. They have to fake still being a couple for the week. It was definitely like an interesting concept. Again, I liked the vibes of it. I did give it 4 stars. Summer vibes were good, but like again, I didn't connect with the couple at all. It also was a second chance, and you guys know like my thing about second chance. I have a very specific way I like second chance to work out, and this one just was not the way that I liked it to. We did get flashback chapters, kind of like seeing them slowly like fall in love and then fall out of love. This just took over a span of a week, and I just didn't think realistically that was like enough like emotional depth for me. I know like the situation was hard because they had to like fake kiss still and be kind of like intimate around their friends, but I feel like it still was like a little too quick behind the scenes. Even like they really didn't need to like do any intimate stuff alone with each other. I could tell that these two characters really had a lot of love for each other, and there was just a lot of unfortunate situations that they had to encounter. Yeah, I guess my big things was like I like Emily Henry's writing style. I definitely could tell that this one was different. A lot of people said like when this came out that this was different from Emily Henry's other books, and I definitely could see that with just like the language was like just a lot more like mature and like upscale, which is just, I'm stupid, so a lot of the terms I was trying to read this book and understand, I'm like, girl, like what are these big words? But just also like the sentence structure was also, I feel like, different. Yes, I definitely recommend it for like a nice summer read, but like it definitely is like a little bit heavier on the topics. 4 out of 5 stars. All right, and then these next technically 3 books, but I had a DNF, so technically 4 books were also in a video, and it was my favorite artist picks my reads for the week. That was a very fun video, so I'm gonna quickly talk about these. First one, I was technically kind of like already started at that point. I read The Wingman by Stephanie Archer, so this is the 3rd book in the Vancouver Storm series. This is about Hayden and Darcy, and basically they've been best friends for like 8 years, I think. Hayden has always kind of had like a little bit of a crush on Darcy, but obviously has never done anything about it, and she just recently broke off her engagement with like kind of his best friend. Yeah, so now she's living with him, and basically she wants him to teach her kind of how to be a player and just kind of like casually have relationships. She doesn't want to be in like a committed kind of relationship, and it kind of just ends up being like a best friends with benefits type thing, which again, y'all know is just not my thing. I also don't like best friends lovers, but this was just the next in the series, so I had to read it, and I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. I just didn't connect with anything in this book. I didn't like the concept. I knew I wasn't going to like the concept, the best friends, the lovers, but I bumped it up to a 3.5. I really liked their friendship. I really only liked their friendship. The thing about best friends to lovers is that the book starts off with one of the main characters like being in a scene with the other main character, and they're like, oh my god, they're so attractive, but like they're my best friend. Like there's no development, if you know what I mean. 3.5 out of 5 stars. And then next up, I read Wild Side by Elsie Silver. She does it again. Like, love Elsie Silver. Like, she probably is like my favorite author of all time. Elsie Silver does it every single time. This is the 3rd book in the Rose Hill series. This is about Reese and Tabitha, and basically, to put it kind of vaguely, Tabitha had a sister who was like renting a place that was owned by Reese. So he was like the landlord. Tabitha's sister ends up passing away, so now she has to take care of her nephew, but she didn't know that her sister Erica wrote a will, and in the will, Erica wanted Reese to be the guardian of her nephew. So there's that whole like crazy concept. It ends up being like a fake marriage kind of to help the whole guardianship process. I'm not gonna go into it because you guys will find out kind of yourself. Emotional depth. I love it. I really do love it. I loved Reese. There's just a thing about a male main character named Reese that I love every single time. He was more of like a really quiet, traumatized male main character. Tabitha obviously is going through a lot, losing her sister, having to learn how to take care of this little child and balance like all of that with having like her own restaurant and job, having to like deal with Reese and all of that stuff. So there's just a lot that these two characters learn and have to go through in this book. book. There's a lot of growth between the two of them separately, but also together. I feel like they came together. They really helped each other grow and each other heal, and I really like love seeing that. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I said that, but I felt like there was just something missing in like the plot. Like we got some scenes with Reese and I believe it's Milo, the nephew, and obviously Tabitha and Milo, but I feel like that was like a big thing and we didn't get like a lot of scenes with them together, and just like them two in general. I feel like we could have had just a little bit more scenes with them and development with them. It was very heavy on like the instant attraction that I didn't love, but then they didn't also do anything very intimate until over 200 pages into the book. I still really enjoyed it. I loved the two characters. 4.5 out of 5 stars. Would recommend any Elsie Silver book. All right, then I ended up DNFing a book, which was Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Stone. I gave it 200 pages and I just didn't love it. I knew it was like advertised as a slow burn, but it was just way too slow. I just didn't care. I'm sorry. I needed like one more book just to wrap up the end of that video, so I started Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford. This is the very last book in the Windy City series. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. Honestly, I had high expectations for this book, and maybe that's why I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna love this, and then I really just didn't love it. I also think I possibly was in a reading slump at this time. This also is a second chance, which you guys can see the themes here. I really don't love a second chance unless it's done a certain way. So this is basically about Rio and Hallie. They grew up together, so Rio was living in this house, and then this family moved in next door, and it was Hallie's family, and basically they grew up like being friends, and then once they got older, they kind of had feelings for each other, so they had a romance. Something ended up happening, and they broke up. So now it's like, I don't know, 6 years later or something like that, and they finally end up meeting each other again. So basically, Hallie is like an interior designer now, and she did the house next door to Rio. And he was like, oh my god, like, let me know who designed this. I really want to do my house. And it ends up being Hallie. So it's kind of, they're like rekindling and them dealing with all the things from their past. I don't know. Too quick back into the romance. That's like my biggest thing with Second Chance. I know there's history between the characters, and I know like as soon as they cheat each other, all those old feelings are just gonna come back. Like I've never experienced something like that. So maybe that's just like how it is in real life. But there were flashback scenes. We got to see the two characters start to fall in love, but then it's always just the present day, how the characters act. Again, just overall just didn't connect with it. 3 out of 5 stars. Alrighty, besties, I feel like I have chatted a lot, but we have finally made it to our last book for this video. I probably won't talk about it too much because I don't have too much to say. So the last book I read for the month of July was One Timer by Tegan Hunter. This is the 3rd book in the Carolina Comet series, which is a hockey romance series. Short little book. I was like, perfect. I gave it 2 stars. Hold on a minute. You're probably like, whoa, Keira, 2 stars. It was one night stand turned accidental pregnancy. Hate that trope. Hate it so much. It was the next one I had to read in the series, so obviously I was going to read it. There's like something about how authors write the female characters when they're pregnant. It's so like weird. I don't know if it's like they're trying to like write it to a T how like hormones work during pregnancy. Every time I read an accidental pregnancy book, I don't like them, but I never liked the female main character. I never liked them. I liked the male main character. He had some like trauma kind of to him, a previous marriage, and then also while she was pregnant, they were like actively sleeping together. I'm like, why did we have to do that? We could have brought some emotional depth and bonding between these two characters who literally know nothing about each other, but then it just turned into like sleeping together like every chapter almost, and then them fully not being in it, and then there was third act conflict, and I was like, I don't care. 2 out of 5 stars, would not recommend. That is all I read in the month of July. Again, just a very weird reading month. I had a lot going on, but I also think I was partly in a slump, and I feel like I still kind of am in that slump. That is all for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to follow all my socials down below, along with goodreads, my Amazon wishlist, all that is in there if you want to check it out. Like, comment, subscribe, and join me. And I'll see you guys next week for another video. Bye!